So Techtember is on in full swing and last week was absolutely mad, and therefore I didn't get the time to check out the new Motorola Edge 40 Neo, which I now kinda regret. Because after the price of the phone was announced, I was kinda shocked. How is Motorola managing to give IP68 rating, 144Hz refresh rate, a fairly decent processor, proper dual cameras with ultra-wide and macro, a software setup which is clean and devoid of bloatware, 5000 mAh battery, 68-watt fast charging, and more, all for under Rs 25,000. In fact, you can buy the Edge 40 Neo for about 21,000 rupees. So there has to be some catch, right? Well, apparently, there's not a lot. So let's find out how's the Motorola Edge 40 Neo. And if you're here for the very first time, I'm Ershad. You're watching Trakin Tech English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. Now, the first thing that caught my attention was this particular shade of Pantone color that Motorola has used for this phone. Now, this color is called Canil Bay. I don't know how it's pronounced, but it's the nicest shade of blue on a phone that I've seen yet, and I'm slightly partial towards the blue color. In fact, it's the same color as that of the new Porsche Macan. Team that color up with a vegan leather back, a metal camera module, and a curved rear, you've got one of the nicest phones in this price category in terms of design at least. It definitely looks and feels more expensive than what you pay for it for sure. And by the way, there are a couple of other Pantone shades available as well if you don't like this blue. There's a Soothing Sea color, which is basically like a shade of green, and a Pantone black as well. Motorola has been spot on, if you ask me, with their color choices in 2023 for their devices. And like I mentioned, despite packing that 5000 mAh battery inside, it weighs under 175 grams and it's only 7.9 millimeters thick. The in-hand feel of the phone is absolutely fantastic and it doesn't feel like a phone that has a fairly large 5000 mAh battery. But most importantly, on the Edge 40 Neo, you've got IP68 rating. You can actually take this phone out for a swim as well. And for context, this is the same water and dust certification that is available on phones that cost Rs 80,000 like the iPhone 15 or the Samsung Galaxy S23. So yeah, good job Moto for giving us IP68 under 25,000. By the way, you also get a proper stereo speaker setup with Dolby Atmos support as well. And they sound loud, they sound rich, and they sound very detailed as well. Here's a comparison against the Realme 11 Pro, the sound comparison. Take a listen for yourself. The Realme 11 Pro also has Dolby Atmos, but you'll realize how this one's better. Now moving on to the display, it's a 6.55-inch Full HD Plus curved POLED panel and it has a refresh rate of 144Hz. The touch response is very good, the display is fast and smooth as well, a very premium experience overall. So you've got HDR10 Plus support on the display and the peak brightness. When you're watching HDR content, the local peak brightness can reach up to 1300 nits. So when you're watching HDR videos on YouTube, the colors just pop. And the highlights and shadows are controlled really well too. And in the natural mode, it's also very good with color accuracy as well. Unfortunately, there is no HDR support on Netflix. Now, since this is a POLED panel, you also get an in-display fingerprint scanner and it's very fast to unlock. We didn't face any problems as such. So internally for the Edge 40 Neo, Motorola has used the MediaTek Dimensity 7030 system on chip, which is the first time on a phone. Of course, MediaTek's naming convention has been really confusing this year, and I've made a short video about it. Please go and check it out. A link should pop up right now. I've poured all my frustration out there. But let's take a look at how it performs in our benchmark runs. So in our Antutu version 9 run, the Edge 40 Neo with Dimensity 7030 scored about 5.16 lakhs, and in version 10, it was 5.25 lakhs. So this score, if you look at it, it's very similar to what you get with the Dimensity 7050 and is definitely better than the Snapdragon 695. And in our Geekbench run as well, we got scores which were similar to the Dimensity 7050. We also generally run a CPU throttle test and we engage 40 threads for 30 minutes and we got a CPU stability score of 85%, which is fantastic. Anything above 80% is very, very good. And if you're somebody who's into gaming, you can play Call of Duty on this at high graphics and max frame rates. So 60 FPS gameplay is possible on the phone and it doesn't throttle or heat up too much either, despite being a slim form factor. Motorola's done a good job. So yeah, the Dimensity 7030 is very close to the Dimensity 7050 in terms of performance. So this is a good chip and it's also a stable chip, which is very, very important. Apart from that, as for network capabilities, you get support for 15 5G bands, Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.3 and NFC as well. Seriously, Motorola is leaving no stones unturned, and we also checked out the Reliance Jio and Airtel 5G performance on the phone, and it works absolutely fine. In fact, the call quality is also very good on the Edge 40 Neo. You've got a earpiece that actually sounds loud. As for the software experience, you guys are probably already aware about it considering we've covered so many Motorola phones in the past. The Edge 40 Neo also comes with MyUX based on Android 13. And Motorola is also promising 2 years of OS updates and 3 years of security updates, which is very good in this price category. As for the software features that I really like using on the phone, you've got Moto Secure, you've got Family Spaces, and Ready For is available too. And of course, Moto Gestures is there too. And of course, the MyUX experience on the phone is very good, especially considering the fact that you've got a display with 144Hz refresh rate. And more importantly, it's bloatware free too. So it's a very clean install of the Android operating system. So if you ask me, I definitely prefer this software in this price category. But my only gripe is that Motorola should provide regular and timely updates. That's something that Motorola has taken feedback on and is working on, is what they tell us. One of the things that is really good about the Edge 40 Neo is at least the camera setup, because you get a 50MP primary camera, yes, but you also get a 13 megapixel ultra wide angle camera that doubles up as a macro camera and triples up as a depth camera as well. And on the front, you've got a proper 32 megapixel selfie camera. In a day and age where the ultra wide angle camera is being thrown out of phones in this price category, this is a good job by Motorola. So with respect to performance, the Edge 40 Neo offers detailed enough shots in daylight, but the colors are vibrant and punchy this time around. Motorola generally used to keep it natural with its color tuning, but with the Edge 40 Neo, it's trying to be more crowd pleasing this time around so that it can, appeal to a wider audience. But you know what, that affects the skin tones and the red skin issue kind of crops up. That shouldn't have been the case. But portraits do offer good edge detection and bokeh drop off as well. I really like it. HDR performance is actually well done on the Edge 40 Neo. Shadows and highlights are well maintained, and the algorithm does pull out a lot of details too, which is not too bad. Even in this picture of Tejas standing against the background, the highlights are not blown out, which is good. In low light, there is sometimes an issue with capturing the right color temperature, but the photos do come out with a good amount of exposure and a lot of details as well. The night mode performance on the Edge 40 Neo is actually really good, and Motorola has been working really hard on its night mode capabilities. Now the 13MP ultra wide angle camera is also good for the price. You get wide and sharp pictures, but the color sense consistency with the primary camera is not that great. Now the 32MP selfie camera captures a lot of details and the skin tone is good too, and even the portraits look very good. Now when you're shooting videos, the rear camera can shoot 4K 30fps videos, so details are good, plus the stabilization is not too bad either. However, I expected slightly better HDR quality from the video recording.
The resolution is capped at 4K 30fps, so do let me know how is the video quality, video stabilization and audio quality.
But the good thing is, even if you're shooting with the front camera, you get 4K 30fps video recording capabilities, which is something that not a lot of phones, in fact, a lot of expensive phones also do not provide that capability. So that's good on the Edge 40 Neo, and it's got a lot of good details on offer as well. So what do you folks think of the camera performance? It's a different direction that Motorola has taken with the tuning on the Edge 40 Neo. What I'll do is I'll actually put all the photos in a G Drive link and put it in the description. Go check that out and let me know your thoughts. Now talking about the battery life, the 5000 mAh battery inside the Edge 40 Neo, along with Motorola's really good battery tuning, can actually last you a full day with 15% battery left in the bank as well. So you can expect about 6 to 7 hours of screen on time, which is pretty good. And the 68-watt charger that you get inside the box can also charge the phone in under 15 minutes, no problem. Now it's not like there are no flaws with the Edge 40 Neo. First things first, the Type-C port should have had USB Gen 3 speeds, but it's USB 2.0 speeds right now. But considering even a more expensive phone like the iPhone 15 offers only USB 2.0 speeds, this should be fine, but still, I think that, faster USB speeds should become norm across the board. Also, considering that there are other phones in this price class that offer UFS 3.1 storage, UFS 3.1 storage speeds would have been nice. Currently, it's UFS 2.2, so that's something you have to keep in mind. And a memory card slot would have been a nice addition too. Now, another concern that I had with the Edge 40 Neo is the haptics. So you do not get an X-axis vibration motor, so you do not get precise haptic feedback. What you get is a soft and mushy feedback. So for a phone that's priced under Rs 25,000, the Edge 40 Neo is easily the most value proposition right now. So currently the launch price of the Edge 40 Neo for the base 8 128GB variant is 20,999, and for the 12 256GB variant is 22,999. And you've got extra 1,000 card offer on Flipkart as well. for that pricing is just nuts. I think it's going to make it to the under 25,000 list for sure, and it's going to be one of my top recommendations to a lot of folks. Also, I'm sure that you'd love to see comparisons of this phone with other phones in its price class. Let me know which one would you like to see in the comments below. And while you think about that, I'll start working on the next video and see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.